Righto, in the second episode we're going to look at tracks. Alright, so I'm going to launch Basecamp and you'll see my Montana is connected, and if I click on my internal storage I've emptied my Montana, so there's no tracks in there at the moment. And because the Montana is connected, I've got the access to that topo map, and I've selected topo mapping on the screen. So what I'm going to do in this episode is create a track, and then I'm going to actually put it onto my Montana. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is create a new list. So I'll click on weekend rides, right click and create a new list. So this is going to be a test, say. Okay, so there's my list. Now you can see the title in this bottom window is test, so anything now that I create while that is highlighted will be applied to that list and stored in that list. Okay, so difference between tracks and routes. Okay, a route is a journey between two waypoints, and to be able to set up a route you need a mapping software which actually is what we call routable, in that it can work out what roads are where and where they go, so that if you put two waypoints down it will calculate the best route using the roads on the map. Whereas track points is a breadcrumb trail that somebody has either recorded basically through carrying out a journey themselves and recording those track points, or somebody has actually plotted track points on a map. Now if you were using routes, depending on your mapping software, it will depend which way it takes you from one waypoint to another. And this can cause problems when adventure riding, because in some cases somebody's mapping software will take them a different way between two waypoints to what you would expect. Whereas track points, being a breadcrumb trail, is an exact trail of where you want somebody to travel within a couple of meters. So you can ensure that people will follow the same route, track, regardless of their mapping software. Okay, so let's start by creating our track. So I'm going to go to Tools and I'm going to go to Track, and you'll see now it's like a pencil. So I'm going to start from Kilcoy and left click. Now everywhere I left click, just get that out of the way, it is going to drop a breadcrumb trail, or what we call a track point. And between the track points it's just going to straight line. Now each time I'm individually pressing my left mouse button, but if somebody was riding this trail, then they can press record on their Garmin device and it will automatically drop one of these breadcrumbs to record the track that has been travelled. So we're doing a similar thing, but directly on the map. Now to make it easier for you, what you can do is hold down the left hand mouse button and then just drag the mouse along the road, and it will automatically drop track points at various locations along the track. So we'll just go up to this junction here and we'll stop there, and you can see how it's created track points all along that track. And now as you can see, the tool is willing to draw a line to wherever I am. So the best thing to do is to go back to Tools. Now I've finished drawing, and select back to Pan. Now you will see I have a track created and down here in my test list, the track now has appeared. Now I can do a couple of things with this track now. I can actually click on the track and open up the box, which is the list of all of the track point locations by elevation, leg distance, leg course, position. So each one of these represent one of the track points. Okay, so I can do that by clicking on the track, or on this side I can highlight track and then right click and open, and it will open that same box. Now this box allows me to do various things. As you can see at the moment, the colour of my track is dark grey, so in here I can turn my track to whatever colour I want. In my case I prefer magenta. And now I can label my track, and I'm going to label it Kilcoy to Sheep Station Creek. And then there is no save button on here, so in this case I'm just going to close that, and now you can see that it's a nice magenta colour, and you can see over this side of the page it's called Kilcoy to Sheep Station Creek. Alright, now you can see at the moment I have direction arrows, which is telling me that I'm going from Kilcoy to Sheep Station Creek. Again, by double clicking and opening the box, there is an option down here to invert, which will turn those arrows round if I want to travel the track in the opposite direction. As I've said previously, there's several ways in which you can do everything. So in this case I can right click and I have the option to invert selected track, and if I highlight that over that side, again I can invert selected track. Okay, now we mentioned waypoints earlier on, in that we can use waypoints to actually create routes, but what I want to do is use waypoints as points of interest when I'm creating my track, or points that I really want to flag on my journey and point out to other people as well who may be using it. So in this case I'm going to go to Tools and Waypoint, and I'm going to set up a waypoint at the start point at Kilcoy, and I'm going to say that I want that to be a fuel stop. So now I've created a waypoint called fuel, and you'll see over the left hand side it has added the waypoint to my list, to my test list. Okay, now remembering I've still got the waypoint tool selected, so I'm going to create another waypoint at Sheep Station Creek, and I'm just going to leave that called Sheep Station Creek so that people know that when we get to the finish they're at Sheep Station Creek. So I'll just select the pen tool again. Just cancel that, cancel that. Now you can see on the left hand side we've got our track, and we've got two waypoints all in my test list. Okay, now we've got our track set up, very basic track. I want to now put that into my Montana device. So all I need to do is I'll just click off that just to get that box empty. So now if I grab my test list and drag and drop and hover over the internal storage of my Montana, you will see the green line go across, and now if I highlight internal storage, those three items that were in that list have now gone into the internal storage of my Montana. Now I could unplug my Montana and then go and ride that track. Okay, so that is a very basic how to set up a track, and in my case how to use waypoints as just marking points of interest, and those will come up on the screen of the Garmin device that you've got connected. Alright, thanks for watching.